mute, and please unmute yourself while you speak. We've also created a feedback form for the session. I will be posting the feedback form link in the chat box, requesting the participants to please fill that during the end of the session for us to improve the upcoming session. The speaker for the today's session is Mr. Varad Rajan Krishna, Managing Director at Induct, co-founder of 100 Open Startups. And the topic for today's session is open innovation. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Archana. Very good evening to all of you. And first of all, thanks so much, Muthu, and the organizing team at IIT Chennai for this opportunity to talk to you all. Today's topic is open innovation, and I'm going to be talking about what is it we've been doing in open innovation. In terms of the flow, is some introduction about what is this open innovation all about. Then an illustration in healthcare, how HTIC can run something similar, okay, what we've done in other parts of the world, and also in India. Then the third part will be the 100 Open Startups, which is a program, a global program. What has happened, what success we've created, and so on. So this is, in a nutshell, what I'm going to be presenting today. So without further delay, Archana, would you have to confirm to me you're able to see the screen?
Yes, sir, we could able to see your screen, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So I just wanted to ensure that you're able to see the next slide also. You're able to see the next slide? It is?
Yes, sir, yes, fine.
Thank you. Right. So everything is set and all right now. So Dr. Henry Chesbrough is the person who created this theory called open innovation, and I want to give you a background to why he got here. He used to work for a large company called Quantum in Silicon Valley, which is a hard drive manufacturer. And when he used to work with them in the R&D department, he used to have a lot of innovation challenges and challenges which he had to solve at the workplace. So he began to collaborate with universities like the IIT or say research institutions that are there in his ecosystem in the valley. Yeah. So that's he discovered over time that you are able to do this kind of quick changes or corrections or even innovation much efficiently and quickly compared to doing it within a large company like Quantum. Okay. And he also found out that over time you could save substantial money for the organization. Now, if you were to do the same within the organization, R&D effort in terms of resource, in terms of money you have to spend, and so on, it is very high. So he was able to come up to the conclusion, maybe you can save 20 to 30% on average, and of course today there are a lot of data available, but I'm talking about those times. He did this kind of research and found out that this can be a great opportunity, and he published this information and made it available. And what happened is more and more people in the ecosystem and in the industry worldwide read about it, and they got very interested in it. And Dr. Chesbrough at that time, also thought that this is something much bigger, and he quit Quantum and then joined Harvard Business School under Dr. Clayton Christensen, who is no more, and did his fellowship on open innovation. And after finishing that, he was invited by UC Berkeley to set up what's called the Center for Open Innovation. So the Center for Open Innovation is something still functions at UC Berkeley. And that's where our association with Dr. Chesbrough, that's my association with him, also started there. So this company, Induct, that we started is something deeply connected to Dr. Chesbrough. He's the chairman of the advisory board of Induct and also is an investor. He's a stakeholder in the company. And he's been involved in guiding us, mentoring us from 2007. Okay, that's when Induct was formed. And now going to the various paradigms that we used to have before the open innovation, this used to be, what's called the closed innovation ecosystem, where we have like a funnel that you see the ideas within the organization, that you see the square pieces there. Those are the ideas within the organization, and you can call it as research investigations. They get developed, then go to market. It becomes new products, and so on, right? So this is the traditional, the legacy method, so to say, right? So this used to work very well, and the closed innovation model was very successful, specifically in industry like chemicals. Also, in if you look at the early stages of GE, and when the electrification was being done, everything was monopolized. So whenever you see sectors that are monopolized and their people are dominating a particular sector, it works very well. Where you don't share your IP, you don't share your knowledge, everything is held within the organization. So such situations is actually a closed innovation model, right? And some companies even today follow it. Like if you know, they have the strict procedures when you want to get into a company's office, and they don't want you to take away anything from the organization because it's all secrets, company secrets, IP, and so on, right? So this is some of the what you call the remnants of closed innovation, right? And if you see today, of course, there are other models that you see, World War II, scientific achievements, obviously, because, Russia wanted to stay ahead or Germany wanted to stay ahead, the Cold War times. So all of those data and war-related, you know, scientific research and developments were never shared with their counterparts because it can work against them, obvious reasons, right? So, so if you see, these are the kind of industry it works. It used to work, and probably it works even now. Okay, so we say though open innovation has come in a very big way, closed innovation also exists in certain sectors. Now, let me go on to what is open innovation, and you can see I was giving you the example of that funnel. That's how the ideas come into an organization. It's be within the organization or from outside. So you see, you can imagine a funnel with pores, a lot of holes. Then the idea can come from outside, and the inside ideas can also go outside. So both ways. So the external IP can come in, combine with internal IP, and create new products that can be invested, and it can be licensed, and so on. So this is the model that has gained currency over the years, and today there is not a single big company that doesn't use open innovation. And in your day-to-day life as well, right? There's a lot of examples of open innovation. If you know this mobile apps, it's a great example. I always quote that if you take iStore or Android Store, you see a lot of apps have been created, and that is in collaboration with people like you and me. So what Apple or the manufacturers of Android handsets long ago decided was, why we create all the apps? Let people create it, and then they can collaborate with each other. So that was the same premise. You can say that works also in advanced cutting edge technologies, and that's what you're seeing here. And the idea, you can say, is, which is, let us say, not proprietary to any organization. The idea can come from anywhere. And so this is where I would like to give the example of Kodak, right? The Kodak is known for the films, but they were the first to bring out the digital camera. But then they didn't want to share it with the outside world. They didn't want to license it. The tech was available at the time. But you know what happened? They didn't license it because they thought it will kill their film industry, okay, because they were making films. And there were obviously people who were working with them. They left and they became part of Sony's of the world, and they created the same product in those companies. So that is an example of what happens, that knowledge is not proprietary. So open innovation also, if you look at um, in terms of it being shared and made available to everybody, is a logical thing, right? So that is something I'll be sharing it later. Now, looking at also from a perspective of how open innovation is today scaling and being used by a lot of organization, is something which you see is there are a lot of intermediaries that have come up, like Nine Sigma, Y2.com got acquired, and there are many like that. There are scouting platforms today, many of them. So this is to say that there is even a business opportunity, and there are large corporations, many of them, they engage with not one, many of them, many such intermediaries. And that is because they do not know where the next innovation will come from. A breakthrough innovation can come from anywhere. And so here is a map of how this is being played out. You see IP values, Y2 licensing, incentive, Nine Sigma, and even companies like Sequoia, Cisco, right? If you know, they run an accelerator. That is because Sequoia wants to invest into startups that have great potential and they can exit later, and they collaborate. So it's another example of open innovation. The accelerator is another example of the large corporations running open innovation programs, okay, which is basically sourcing innovation for their requirements and their client requirements when they don't have an internal capability to do that. So they um, run a call for applications. I'm going to have an illustration later on about how this was done. So you see, typically, any such initiative which partners with the outside market or outside, uh, you can say, ecosystem other than the own organization, outside the boundary, if they were to go and engage, all that you can call it as open innovation. So you see, this is what happens. So the concerned organization wants to retain leadership in their market. And how can they do that? They can do that only by collaborating with others. So in short, open innovation is nothing but collaboration. You need to work with everybody. So you see, this is something which I touched upon earlier. The logic for open innovation is this: good ideas are widely distributed. It's not within one company. All ideas are not in one company or one organization or one entity. It is widespread. And that's what I also said. No one has a monopoly on useful knowledge anymore, right? There's so much information. You just Google, you'll find information about anything you want under the sun. Financial managers also, want to play chess. They don't want to, like, if you see, at the same time, they want to take some risks. And the risk taking is by engaging with startups, engaging with ecosystems. You have to, um, you know, try everything you can to stay ahead of the market, right? So that's also a reason, logic behind that. And you also have let us say, the IP management. Over the years, a lot of organizations develop IP which they never use. And open innovation is an opportunity where they can license this IP to outsiders. And what didn't have currency at a point in time maybe have currency later on, in their life. And that is an example that you're seeing here, where external IP can add value to something that is happening internal to the organization. And similarly, the internal IP, which is unlocked, can be useful to somebody else outside the organization. And so, in other words, you can monetize all those and unlock those IPs which were not used earlier. And the last one, the last logic is very interesting. This is a very an important one. I can say it's also my favorite, not all of the smart people in the world work for us. It doesn't work for one organization. They are spread all over the world. So if you want to create something disruptive and unique, you have to collaborate with everybody. So then the chance of that becoming successful is very high. And I also talk about this particular aspect, which is, typically if you look at large organizations, right, they have a kind of a not a kind of a collaborative approach if there is a IP or a tech coming from outside, because it's not invented within the organization. So this is called the Nih Syndrome. So this Nih Syndrome is very prevalent in large organizations. They don't respect such kind of IP. I'm talking about the old days. And here I want to give an example of something which became a Harvard business case study of Procter and Gamble, right? Procter and Gamble makes this cylindrical chips. It is like potato chips called, the thin wafers, and Pringle. It's called Pringle, right? So what they used to do was P&G was a one who manufactured this and used to sell it. They wanted to create some images on this potato chips, and they had invested something like 700,000 to 1 million US dollars, but they didn't succeed. That's when they heard about Dr. Chesbrough's work and put this out in their own open innovation initiative called Connect and Develop. You can just Google, you will find it. So this became a major initiative within P&G. So what they did was they put out this problem statement saying that, is there anyone out there who can create images on the potato chips? And guess what? There was a bakery in Italy who had a very mature technology. They've been doing this for many years. And they said, yes, we have it, and we would like to offer it to you. And within the next few days, the P&G executives flew down and closed the deal. They bought the company, they bought the technology out. The rest is history. Okay, so this is a great example of large corporations shedding their egos, right? And I'm talking about ego because big companies think they can do everything. And when the open innovation came, that is when they began to look at outside. So you see, that's what we say here: proudly found elsewhere and verified by lab and test equipment. So this happens all the time, that you find a superior technology than what was developed internal, the R&D, that is available in a startup or a research institution, right? Now, for those interested, there are some great books. I would recommend, my personal favorite is Open Business Models. Open Innovation is something which I've just touched upon. That's the first book. This one on the right is a good one, specifically if you're looking at creating new business models. So if you know, the app example I gave you is a business model similar to what I touched upon earlier, where you collaborate with outsiders. So you don't spend your time or resource to develop apps, but somebody else develops it on your platform. Okay, so this open business model gives a lot of ideas. So for whoever that is interested in this gathering or in the audience, please pick it up. Now I'm going to I look at an example, because this is theory, and this is something which has worked. But I want to show you something that we ran, practically. I practically ran this. This is the Open Innovation Center for Healthcare in Bangalore. I chose this topic because for HTIC, this could be very relevant because you are focused in healthcare. And how we did this. This was in 2011, and this was the first ever Open Innovation Center in India. Okay, we created that, and it ran between 2011 Jan to December 2013. Okay, so it is like to say you bring all the stakeholders in healthcare together. As you see, the industry, government, startups, the VCs, universities, research organizations, everybody together, and you collaborate. So I'm going to also show you how this was done. So as you can see, we gathered the needs from about 50 hospitals. Okay, this was in, like I said, 2011. So we had certain themes like mother mortality rate. At the time, this was a major issue. MMR is like, India is among the worst affected. Among 100,000 women that die, this I'm talking about that time. Okay, so please don't quote me for the current, these numbers must have improved now. But in the time I'm talking about, 2011, 100,000 women were dying at childbirth, okay, all over the world. And 40% of that was in India. Okay, and so we had gathering of all these stakeholders that you saw in the previous map, this previous slide. We got Philips, GE, Siemens into the room, along with several startups, some investors, several hospitals like Apollo, Fortis, Manipal, and government. So we had this JN and URM. So their team was also there, and they were giving their problems. Okay, so I gave you this mother mortality rate as an issue, as a challenge. So this is how the challenge was given, and in the ecosystem, or let us say in that meeting, the steering committee meeting, we had 50 people, and they were to come up with solutions. So one was this problem of MMR. So the issue was at the time, if you know, the one way of checking whether why women die is because they have what's called as iron deficiency, and so the oxygen that is supposed to be carried to your brain um, is less, and that's why they die, because during childbirth there is blood loss, right? So how do you discover that a particular woman is anemic? That you have to do much early, as soon as she gets pregnant, or even before. You have to figure out whether she is anemic or not, right? So then how do you do that? You can take the blood sample and check the RBC count, and then take the necessary remedies, right? But the issue in rural areas was they tend to reuse the needle. So, and if you remember that time, 2011, this AIDS and HIV was rampant, and we had to use some other method, which was like non-invasive, and which was to say, like, you have to scan your thumb. So this technology was already there, like 2011. This technology was already there, and you can scan your thumb and figure out what's your RBC count, right? But the government official, he was a doctor, he said, look, the problem is that 65 rupees, I'm talking about that time, 65 rupees per scan is too high for the rural areas. They were looking at making 5 rupees per scan. Yeah. So this is a business model innovation, and in the book I quoted to you earlier, the open business model comes into play here. So the people in the room began to discuss how this can be done and how we can make it cheaper. So I'm just giving you some of the real cases we worked on. And similarly, there was another challenge given by some hospitals. They said, look, every doctor gives prescription, and their signatures and their the writing is something we can't even figure out what they've written. So is there a technology to convert all of that, these writings in the prescriptions, can we capture and convert into digital format? And guess what? Philips was there in the room, and they said they will take up this challenge. They said they will solve this challenge, right? So I'm just giving you real cases, something like 50 cases we brought up, and they were solved. And some of them which could not be solved, we put it out in the public domain. And then there were startups. There were, of course, some startups in that meeting as well. So whoever had a solution provided that. And so this call for applications, we ran a call for applications, a traditional accelerator way, like you also do at HTIC. The same way it was run. And it'll be interesting, I want to show you, we made also a brochure. I'll just show you that, because this is all interesting for your team at HTIC. And I don't want to just do the session and take some questions and then end the session. My idea was to also engage going forward. So I just want to ask you this: is someone there, Archana? Can you tell me, are you able to see this screen? I'm sharing one, the Open Innovation Healthcare Center in Bangalore. Are you able to see that?
Sorry, sir. We could see your presentation screen
Okay,
still.
so maybe I have to share it again. Is that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just a minute. Yes, I'm sure you can see it now. Archana, are you able to see it?
Yes, sir. We could see the
Okay,
open.
great. Great.
Yes,
So,
sir. The Open Innovation Center in Bangalore.
right, right. So I wanted to show you this because this is something, like I said, we ran between 2011 Jan to December 2013. And as you can see, we had this partnership with Fraunhofer, and you can see the contact person there in Stuttgart, and I was a contact person here in India, and we built this, and you can see what were the project activities: patient pathway mapping, open innovation challenge. So approximately 2,000 new venture ideas will be gathered and will be filtered using a proven challenge-driven innovation methodology. The goal is to end up with 20 feasible venture ideas in healthcare, which will be exposed to the corporate sponsors. Okay, see, uh, this is how it was done, and this is something I can make it available to anyone in the audience that is interested to know more. So I just wanted to mention that um, open innovation is a great way for you to collaborate and bring outstanding results, uh, engaging everyone in the ecosystem. Like the way I explained to you, you see, in this case, we engage the industry, the medical devices and services, the hospitals, business schools. So in fact, what happened is that there were some research findings. Those could be then become a topic of research for PhD scholars, postdoc scholars. So business schools and universities got engaged. We were working with IMB here, investors, entrepreneurs, policymakers. So this is the way it was done, and the same can be mimicked, can be remodeled for your own requirements, internal requirements. So now I will go back to that presentation again, and I'll finish it up. I got only a few more slides, and the idea is that I want to take questions and interact with you all after this. So let me finish that presentation. Just give me a minute. Are you able to see the screen now, Archana?
No, sir. We couldn't see your screen now, sir.
Okay. Now, can you see it?
No, sir. We couldn't see your presentation, sir. Still.
About now?
No, sir. Still, we couldn't see your presentation, sir.
I'm sure you can see it now. Are you able
Yes,
to?
sir, we could.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you. All right, so I just segued to show you that brochure, and I have covered this. So now I'm coming to another program that we run globally. It's called the 100 Open Startups. So this became, let's say, the content is basically to engage corporate with startups, and in the process create a value for the ecosystem in terms of an alternate model where the startup can grow and scale through corporate resources. And we rank the best 100 every year, and that's the name 100 Open Startups. 100 to indicate top 100 ranking, open because of open innovation, and startups. So this is as you can see, the world's largest structured open innovation program for large corporations to engage with startups. And this also, helps in many ways the ecosystem. So that is something I'm going to get to in a minute. So let me now come to the other areas of the way this program has scaled and created value for everyone concerned. Okay, now, so as you see, the big companies were very diffident. They were not wanting to collaborate in the 2000 period. And in 2010, that was when the let's say the industry was evolving and it was still very chaotic. As you see, this particular picture is the big company and the startups. The birds are the startups. This is an analogy we're showing here. So both of them are going after the same resource, which is water. And we're giving an analogy like an industry like fintech. Both are going after the same business. Okay, so this swarm of startups and this big guy, the big bank, they're going after the same client. And the dilemma for this big bank is, do I do all this myself or do I collaborate with these startups, this swarm of birds that you see there? And there was no other choice. They had to collaborate. And so you see, that's what is happening. So this picture shows how these startups are riding on the big guy. Okay, so this is the way the world has to evolve, and this is the way we have to move forward. We have to shed the egos. The big companies shed their egos and began to collaborate. This is a great picture. And so this is what we're seeing now. So from 2015 is when the corporate began to look at startups very seriously. And till then, they thought it was a waste of time and it was frivolous. So that began to change when the disruptions began to happen. And so these were some of the big brands. As you can see, the who's who in the second name, some of the well-known ones: 3M, Intel, IBM, HP, Siemens, Bosch. So you can see all of them. So we had a support of about 40 corporations, and today we have 5,000 corporations in the program. And it is 13 years. It has taken that long for more and more. As I speak with you, the acceleration or the pace of corporate involvement and engagement has increased exponentially. Yeah, that's what we are noticing. And so what we've done, see, you can run open innovation programs. See, if you see, hackathon is a great example. There are many examples like whenever you have innovation sourcing events, hackathon is the most rudimentary form of open innovation. There are also the corporate then get into deals, work with the startups. So as you're seeing in this slide, the various grand challenges that exist, like innovative cities, information society. You can go to openstartups.net. You will find all of this there. And on your right, you also see various other properties we created over the years. The top 10 in city tech, ag tech, auto tech, retail tech, and so on. And we also began to, the way you heard about the startups being ranked, we began to also rank the technologies in universities. That's the 100 open techs that you see there in brown, where I'm showing you my the mouse over the cursor there, And then the one in the black, the 100 Open Corps. So in fact, this year, this month end, we are publishing the top 100 ranking of the corporate, the way they engage and sign open innovation deals with startups. And we also have 3 years ago another one created called 100 Open Angels. There's an angel platform for the corporate executives, individual capacity they can invest and engage with startups. So, as I said, you can run open innovation program, but it has to be highly impactful. You have to create value for everyone in the ecosystem. So this is what we did. There is a methodology and a process. So as you see on your left, quickly I'll take a minute to explain to you. So these are the grand challenges put out by the corporations. So this is a problem-solving approach. So as you know, in the world today, there is an analysis done by business schools, leading business schools, which says nearly 60% of startup failures are due to this, solution looking for problems. So we being entrepreneurs, we went the other way around. You should always have a problem-solving approach. So you should have the problem first, and then the startup again, apply against those problems. And then they're taken through these filters. So there is a methodology behind each one of those, as you see in those figures, from level 1 to level 5. The level 5 is the top 100 ranking. And there's a methodology, as I said, in every level. And I don't have the time to go over it, but maybe another day, another time, I can tell you about it. But you can understand it's a very sophisticated filtering system. And the one that reach top 100 ranking are the most valuable startups in that year. We do it region-wise, we do it global-wide, we do country-wide, and so on. So this is what it is. And this became a case study of different business schools, and we run MBA programs based on the process methodology on a way, for example, to source innovation in a very effective way. So that's what it is. And I want to show you also how our program scaled over the years, and it became very, very big. Okay, and this is also in terms of success, right? We created, as we speak with you, these are little old. 21,000 contracts have been signed between 1,700 startups and around about 1,400 corporations. So as you see here in this, where I'm showing you my cursor, the corporate 65.5% have deals. Okay, 65% of the corporates. Okay, that means 2,632 corporations have some deal going with startups. Similarly, if you look at the startup picture, it's also the same, right? They have something like from their side, right? Almost, as you can see, 16.5% have deals. This is because the startup numbers are much higher, so that is why you see that percentage is lower. But still, it is a very high number compared to, let's say, the investment scenario. Okay, if you look at, let's say, 100 startups pitch in front of investors, the chances one will get investment. And typically, I speak with a lot of investors. They say 1 in 1,000 get investment. Okay, so you see, this is a better ratio. So we created an alternate approach where startups can grow without investors' money. So that is the thesis, and that is the message I wanted to convey. And the last but one slide here is about the methodology behind ranking. So you see, I mentioned to you that we do this top 100 ranking. It is based on the kind of relationship the startup builds with the corporate. And we have identified 16 types of relationships a startup can have with the corporate, or the other way around. And you can see those mapping right from coaching and mentoring. We call this group A, it's positioning. And the group B is in terms of partnerships, where a corporate gives, or an SME gives, their resource, their lab, or their facility to the startup. Okay, that's what the group B is. And we call this as platform and partnerships. That's a second bucket. The third bucket, which is the group C, it is the resource where it's a kind of a supply arrangement, right? Where the corporate uses a startup for developing their product or their solution. And so this is a bucket, what you call the C bucket, and it is a supplier arrangement, supplier development. So resource for R&D, so this will be interesting for you, is a resource for R&D and prototype, startup IP licensing, pilot project contract, service of innovative product supply. Okay, so these are all falling under this bucket. So you see these points that you're seeing here, 1, 5, 10, 20. These are the points awarded when the startup develops a relationship with a corporate in this manner. Okay, so this is all available in our website. So do visit openstartups.net. And so we have a number of events going on all over the world. And what is important is, during the COVID, we used to do all these events in a face-to-face physical infrastructure. Typically, the OI week that you see here, here is about 7,000 square meters, 70,000 square feet. We innovated and pivoted and made it digital. So this is today, everything is happening digitally. And as I speak with you every month, and we have this OI week digital running, and that's a program where we bring the startup and corporate to work together and make deals happen. Okay, so that's in a nutshell what the 100 Open Startups has done so far. And as we speak, it continues to move forward and bring more and more success for everyone in the ecosystem. So the level 4 also works as an exit event for early stage investors. Okay, and it's also an area where, like I said, the startup can get exit by being bought out by corporate, like you saw, here, which is the bucket number 4, where equity acceleration program and then investment with minority shareholding and M&A, all of that will fall under what's called the bucket D, okay, or the 4th bucket. Okay, so that is end of my presentation, and I'm now stopping here to take questions. I presume that there are so many questions already there. So, Aparna, would you like to help me?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, we have
Thank
a
you.
few questions on the chat box. We have few questions from Jnana Krishnan. So, Jnana Krishnan, can you please go ahead and ask all your questions?
Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening, everybody. Hello.
Sorry, we couldn't hear you
I think, Jnana
properly.
Krishnan, you have to mute one of your devices.
Hello. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. You can.
Yeah. My question is, how the startup companies can embrace the open innovation and follow the 4 P's of innovation: paradigm, process, position, and product. As you mentioned, collaboration is from the outside is going to be the first part of it. And second, the sharing the lab and resources you mentioned. What are the other parameters the startup need to be looking at, sir?
I showed you one screen, just before the last one, which was to show the type of relationship, the startup develops. And it always starts with mentoring, where an executive, and even our program construct is like that, where the executives first look at, being a mentor. They give guidance, they give some feedback about what the product is, and that's how the engagement starts. And then it goes all the way into making an investment as well. So to answer your question, it is not exactly the way you put it there, like process, position, product, but it is in a different way, where it starts with a mentoring, with the corporate giving some inputs, and then they probably offer resources. This is the way it matures. The resource, as in they invite them to the lab or give their facility or their product, or let's say there could be a kit they will be offering. And then using that, you can develop your prototype, and then they will give you further help to make it into a commercialized solution or an offering that they can then buy it. Okay, so this is the way it matures. And then finally, it becomes strategic over time. then they make a small equity investment, then finally it get acquired. Okay, if it becomes like very strategic, then they get acquired. So this is the way, like I explained to you, the 16 types of relationship, the tracing of the startup's maturity is in the same path as I explained to you. And this is one way of the corporate addressing the gap in their innovation. So they may have gap in skills, gap in certain IP that they don't have, that they would like to acquire from the startup, because big companies have strategy for IPs. Okay? They have a huge, um, let's say, an approach, a strategy to deal with their competitors. Okay? And so they do this in a methodical way, and that is what you see in that particular slide that I explained to you before. And to wrap up your question is to say that it works in some ways, like the way you have mentioned, but not entirely the same. And it is based on an ad hoc arrangement, and it then develops into something more mature over time. And I see also another question from you. Many companies follow the open innovation instead of closed innovation. In case of healthcare startup, what is best suited on open innovation or the closed one? Well, obviously, it is. See, when you want to collaborate, it is open. Okay, it is not a closed one. And today's scenario, except for some of the industries like I mentioned, defense, even defense have began to collaborate now, and there are some other proprietary industries. Other than that, everybody is open. And it's the open source. You know about open source. You know about the word open today is so common that everybody wants to open their IP. In fact, large organizations are opening their IP so that others can develop solutions and products that the company can then use it later. Okay, so there is no way a startup can be, that too in healthcare, can be closed. It has to be open. And then
Thank
you
you
are
so much,
asking,
sir.
you have so I think a lot of questions you have. So maybe this is something which,
Yeah, we had three questions. We had
yeah,
three questions from Jan Krishna. So
yeah.
you can
Can I
ask the
get,
last question as well now.
so no problem. Can I get some contacts in corporate healthcare companies which support the open innovation ecosystem and encourage startup entrepreneurs? Yeah, sure. No problem. We'll take it offline.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the clarity, sir. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Thank you, sir. So we have next question from Kanishk. Um, what are the skills required towards open innovation such that even students can participate in?
Skills required, huh? Okay, what are the skills required toward open innovation? Well, skill is, you should have open-mindedness. Okay, you should have a mind to collaborate with others. Okay, so I will tell you, Kanishk, you asked a very important question. We have a cultural issue in India. We don't collaborate. We are very competitive by nature, and that's because when we are brought up, even in a childhood, even your best friend, your mom or dad tells you, hey, he got, say, top ranks, top scores. See, you are his best friend, you didn't get him. You didn't match the score. So you see, he's your best friend, but in your heart of heart, or in your mind, he's your competitor, right? And so we grow up with that, and that shows up later in life, that we don't want to collaborate. And this is a major issue I'm facing in India, even at this point in time. Many organizations, Indian organizations, don't want to collaborate. They think they can do everything on their own. And since you are a student, Kanishk, I must tell you, be open-minded. You will do very well in life.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Hope that answers Kanish's question. Um, we have next question from Divya Rajput. Divya, can you please unmute yourself and go ahead with your question?
Hi. So, just wanted to understand how can the institutions upgrade themselves or position themselves so that these corporations want to partner with them? because all of them cannot be IITs and IIMs, and we have talent everywhere. So, what are your remarks?
Good question, Divya. Thanks for being here. Yeah, so the you need to have some niche offering. Okay, if it is, see, why would someone come to you, right? Think always like that. See, even in your other business, let's say you're offering some training or some skill upgrading methodology, that's something unique which no one else has. So if you have that, then people are going to come to you. You may be having some competitors, like two or three, but as long as you have something niche to offer. So the underlining thing is, remember that you should have some niche offering. Okay, then the corporate will come to you. And it doesn't matter whether you come from a top institution or you're a startup. As long as you have something unique, people would like to partner with you. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we have another question from Safis. What is the revenue model of an open innovation platform?
Well, I shared some of the examples. So I will tell you some of the open innovation programs are run as projects, which means there is a grant or a fund available. Many times, even funds, VCs, they themselves run open innovation programs where they're working for a particular client. So if there are outsourced accelerators, outsourced even incubators. So these are all examples of people paying to someone to run a program, which is an open innovation program. So like whether it's an accelerator, incubator, or even a hackathon, I gave you some examples like that. And so these are all someone is paying for it, for your time and effort, and that's how it works, right? So if you take the 100 Open Startups, is also an open innovation platform. There, it is all funded, it is all paid as membership fee. So we have a licensing model for using the platform. They have to pay a licensing fee. It's a SaaS model. And you can have, like I said, different models. There are even, let's say, for example, you can offer some workshops or some innovation programs under that. These are all something that you can license it to the others. And there is, in summary, I can say there is no single model. There are many models. And you can say it is like a SaaS, which is a membership driven. So if you want to join that platform, you need to have a membership fee. And so that will answer your question, I'm sure, because if you have a membership fee, then you can get to access the various parts of the program. Let's say, for example, HTIC were to run an open innovation program, and that if I want to join or you want to join, then you have to pay a fee to see what is going on there. And it could be like some investors want to have a deal, so they want to have a pipeline, a deal pipeline. So if they want to access that, they have to pay. Okay. Same thing for the corporate as well. So they want to probably engage with innovative startups in healthcare. I'm talking about healthcare specifically because I gave the example of HTIC. Okay. So there could be people in the ecosystem who want to access because it is relevant for them, and they pay a membership fee. So this is a common model that is being followed all over the world.
Thank you, sir. So hope that answers Savi's question.
Yeah.
So I have a question, sir. So what are the significant factors or like a significant strategies any entrepreneur or startup should consider in an open innovation process, sir?
So are you asking for any specific skills the startup needs, any skills to be a part of an open innovation program, or can
Yes,
you
sir.
just reframe that question again?
Any important skill a startup or an entrepreneur should develop to process the open innovation process?
Oh yeah, so that I answered already. I think it was someone who asked me, the student. So I
Yes,
said
sir.
about
Yes,
collaboration, right? So
yes, sir.
the open-mindedness is an important attribute that we need to develop. And I think if there is someone in the audience who conducts workshops on collaboration and open-mindedness, I think you should bring them on board, and they should do a session on how to collaborate, how to break the ice, and work with everyone in the ecosystem. This is the need of the hour because, as I said, 1 + 1 is not 2; it is 11. And same way, if there are, say, 5 people in the room, you see the collaborative output is exponential. It's not linear. It's not 1 + 1 + 1. Okay. So as long as people in the audience understand that, and the powers that may be understand that, we can create major impact, and we can easily be a 5 trillion economy. See, you see, we have done all this without collaboration, right? I told you we have this major issue that we don't collaborate amongst institutions, amongst organizations, even within the organizations, we don't collaborate. If we collaborate, nobody can beat us. I think this is a message I would like to give it to everyone in the audience now. Let us collaborate. Why we should look at each one as a competitor. And here I also want to say one 40 seconds video that we have, animation video. Whenever you have time, just Google. It's the 100 Open Startups animation video. Just Google it. There's a very powerful message there. It says, why compete when you can collaborate? So that's a message I would like to leave with you all, that there is an option. You can compete, of course, but there is also another option where you can collaborate. Which one do you prefer? That's the question you would ask yourself.
Yes. Thank you, sir. So we'll have this last question, sir. So we talk about the open innovation process. So I would like to ask, what are the risks and the challenges that's been associated with the open innovation process?
The risk is the commonest risk people think about is that when you share your IP or your knowledge, it can be plagiarized, right? Somebody can copy it. So that is the biggest risk, right? So you see, even in our own program, we have 5,000 corporations. Any idea that is put out there, there are, of course, always some black sheep, some bad apples, as they say. In every ecosystem, there are going to be people who want to copy, but there are several others. So maybe 1-2%, who want to, copy your idea. But there are 98%, who want to help you. So we have to look at the angle and think positively that that's what matters at the end of the day, that majority want to help you. And so the risk is that part where your idea or IP can be stolen or taken by somebody. On the other hand, what's the alternative? Okay, what is the alternative if you don't collaborate? Right? The risk is even far higher than if you don't collaborate, right? So I would say that you have that option. You have to look at collaboration as a way forward, and open innovation is nothing but, in crude terms, it's a collaborative mindset where everybody comes together. And so that is what I would like to leave as a message to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So before we wrap up, I would like to make a few announcements here. So we have prepared a feedback form for the session, requesting the participants to please fill the feedback form for us to improve the upcoming sessions. And the coming Thursday, we are hosting an Ask Me Anything session on the topic Ask Me Anything on Co-Founders by Ms. Padma Chandrasekaran, who is former President SIFI and founder and CEO of Virgil Tech. We'll see your participation over there. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time. It was really useful and a very interactive session as well. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, all the participants. Have a good evening. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. And for anyone who wants to contact, please contact Archana, and she will provide my coordinates. Thank you so much. Have a
Yes, sir,
Krish,
sure.
Yeah.
before you go, we usually upload the video in the YouTube, so I hope that's fine with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no problem.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no problem.
Thank you for coming. Speak to you later.
Yeah, thank you so much, Muthu, for this opportunity.
Okay. Take care. Take care.
Thank
You're
you, sir.
most welcome.
You
And
too.
thank you
Stay
for the time.
safe.
Bye.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Stay
Stay safe.
safe.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.